Whether you're new or a returning client, welcome to the Intapp family. Now that the statement of work has been executed, our client services team is working on staffing your project. Once the staffing is complete, your assigned engagement manager will reach out to you to schedule an introduction call and review next steps. In the meantime, there are several things that you can start working on. This introduction is intended to guide you in preparation for your project start. We're excited that you've chosen Intapp, and now that the contract has been executed, we have a lot of work to do. First, your company should have received access to your sandbox instance. Please take a look and verify that you have that. As we move into the initiate phase of the project, the first activity is to select and prepare your core team. We'll dive deeper into that in a subsequent slide and to the key roles that you need for your team. Setting the proper expectations now will help to ensure smooth delivery throughout the engagement. Once identified, the core team should meet with the key stakeholders for this initiative to align on success criteria, expectations as a member of the core team, and what has and what has not been included for this statement of work. Your project manager should begin working with the core team to understand their availability, meaning who's out of the office at certain times or away for key industry functions. This will help as we jointly start to the project planning cycle. It is our goal to help you understand the solution so we can make informed decisions during the implementation. To help facilitate this, we would like your core team to review a few videos on Intapp University to familiarize them with the software solution. In addition, for those supporting the data integration, it'll be essential to understand the IIS solution and thus complete some required courses as outlined in the customer project commitments section of the statement of work. There are several prerequisites that should be completed prior to the formal kickoff. If we are using any third-party software, those licenses will need to be procured. If you have any questions on what's needed, please reach out to your Intapp contact. In addition, remote access for the Intapp team will be needed to some of your identified systems in your ecosystem. It will be important to know who manages this in your organization and what information you will need from us to obtain the appropriate access. In the scope of work, it identifies and defines the business processes to be implemented. Your team should take some time to familiarize themselves with the scoped processes and, if available, provide Intapp with any documentation you currently use today. Finally, we'll be migrating or integrating data from your systems. We will begin data mapping workshops early in the implementation, so it'll be critical to work with members of your team that understand your data and all referential elements. We'll guide you through these workshops, but getting a head start to identify who we'll work with will help expedite those activities. We typically validate these integrations using your source system's test environments prior to moving to production. It'll be critical that you refresh your test systems with production data prior to the start of the implementation. This provides a much more accurate test and higher success during the testing cycles. And thirdly, when we introduce your engagement manager, they'll begin working with you to plan out the engagement. We will review the collaboration tools and process we'll use to manage governance. And in addition, we'll work collaboratively with your project manager to build out the agreed project plan. It'll be important at that time to know the team's availability for scheduling. Once the plan is agreed upon, meetings will be scheduled on a team's calendar, beginning with a formal project kickoff and moving into the defined phase of the project. In the project kickoff, we'll formally introduce all members of the team and describe how we run and govern the project. It will be important to have our project sponsor to walk through the success criteria at this time, as this will inform our focus for the initiative. Our goal in the define phase of the implementation is to gather input for the scoped processes and build the design as agreed by the project team formalized in the solution design. In addition, we'll define all data mapping elements and rules that will apply to the build of the solution. The goal of this phase is to get an agreed design with formal sign-off. Having your team prepared and able to communicate your processes will be essential so we minimize potential rework during the build or UAT cycles. Each of these implementation phases follow in the plan and will be discussed more during planning with your engagement manager. The makeup of the team is another key element to success. This slide depicts the optimal roles of your project team. It should be used as a guide to inform you on the types of activities that will need to be completed so you can think about who will fill these roles. The project sponsor role provides the overall vision for the initiative and ensures the core team is aligned to delivering that vision. They are the lead member of the steering committee and act as the deciding executive for key decisions and issue resolution. The project sponsor, working with the change management team, communicates the importance of the initiative across the organization. They don't need to be involved in the day-to-day activities of the project, but should attend regularly planned steering committee meetings and liaise with the implementation team for periodic updates. The project manager will work alongside our Intapp engagement manager and are the main point of contact for this initiative. They will ensure the team aligns to agreed governance practices, scope compliance, and management to agreed budgets. This role coordinates and manages the meeting cadence, follow-up activities, and is critical in ensuring clear communications with their project team and internal stakeholders. Your implementation has a scope set of deliverables aligned to work streams. It is important to assign core team members as subject matter expert roles, namely the individuals who understand the process we will be implementing, can be key contributors for this initiative. Core team members should solicit input from and provide feedback to the stakeholder groups they represent during the implementation and take decisions in their area of expertise. They should plan to contribute to workshops, learn the solution, and fully test it during the testing lifecycle. Members of this team become your core power users at Go Live. Members of the technical team commonly consist of more than one person. This team assists in providing access to the Intapp team, understanding the environment architecture, assisting in integration setup and build, and ultimately manage the platform after implementation. So working alongside our team during the implementation educates your team on the solution and best ways to support it after go live. Finally, change management and training are crucial functions in any implementation. In some clients, we see these roles played by core team members, while other clients allocate dedicated teams. Who in your organization will focus on ensuring clear communications across your organization? Who will understand the organizational impacts of these changes will make and how your company will adjust to those? Who also needs to consider our approach to training and who will be doing the training? Will this be a core team member or a dedicated training team? Are we thinking about live, in-person training or webinar sessions? These are all things that we can talk about in our introduction meeting, but we wanted to get you started thinking about these roles. Identifying your team and communicating their roles on the project is one of the first steps to getting started. So where do we go from here? Defining your initiative success criteria is a critical element to keeping the team aligned on what is important and also give us key criteria to measure against. Ask your executive team to clearly articulate why the initiative is important to the business. What does success look like and how would you measure it? As well, what does adoption look like? By this, I mean, how we know if people are doing what we want them to do. Next, select and prepare your project team and hold your internal team meeting. There's a sample agenda provided for your internal team meeting. The reason we want you to do this is to align on expectations for your initiative. We ask that you complete the relevant training courses. And most importantly is data. Data is one of the most challenging items in any implementation. If we are migrating or integrating your data, review what data types we are moving and make sure that we have identified the individuals that understand the data set as well as any referential data associated. Think about things like what fields are truly of value, how much data should we be moving, and any questions that you have. Knowing the right people to start the data mapping exercises will ensure we can adhere to the timeline. Next, we'll ask that you meet with your Intapp engagement manager And also propose a few times for your project manager, executive sponsor to meet with us so we can go through this and any prerequisites that we have before getting to the official kickoff. Included here is an example of an internal team meeting introducing your initiative. This can be completed in one or multiple meetings, and the primary objective is to drive alignment to the agreed stakeholder goals and clearly communicate expectations to the core team. In the executive overview, we want the project sponsor and stakeholders to articulate why we are doing this initiative, its importance to the business, what success looks like to them. This drives alignment to what we're trying to achieve and helps focus the implementation team to achieving those goals. Upfront communication on this and the high importance of the role for the core team that the core team plays is a key to a very successful outcome. It's our goal to deliver a solution to you on time and as expected. Our experience shows that sometimes we get implementations and we lose sight of the original scope, causing delays and increased cost. We don't want this to happen to you. In your internal meeting, we want you to discuss the scope that was contracted, as well as any items that were really wanted but not in the scope of this work. We should, as a team, how new requests or future items will be handled. The core team plays a pivotal role in the implementation and how it can become challenging with timelines and day jobs alongside project implementations. They are representing their functional or technical area and should be soliciting input and providing feedback to those that they are representing. Participating in sessions is critical to ensure a project stays aligned to timeline and budget expectations, along with making sure all the requirements are captured. We know urgent things do come up and flexibility is needed, and we can make adjustments where necessary. The goal is to ensure the team understands the design and how to use the system and achieve adoption. We want to thank you, and we are looking forward to working with you and your team. Your next step is to work together with your Intapp engagement manager. Thanks, and have a great day.